Hey, what's going on guys? Chad here with Greenlight Shooting and welcome to this new very special video. This video has been a long time coming, man. I mentioned a couple weeks ago, if you've been keeping up with the videos, you know that Vaultek sent me a VT20i that was an open box. Someone returned it to them and they can't sell it, they can't resell it, so they said put this thing through a torture test. So I'm really stoked on it. A couple things I do want to mention before we start off. First of all, I'm going to split this torture test up into kind of two sections. The first couple tests are going to be what you can expect as like an owner of this thing, you know, the kind of daily wear and tear you might see on it. If it's sitting on a nightstand and it knocks off onto hard ground or whatever. Daily wear and tear up to more extreme things. And then on the other side, I want to test breaking into it. So, you know, if someone were to try to break into this thing, how easy is it? How much time will it handle? Can you break into it? Can you just break it open? You know what I mean? So another thing that I want to mention is that I'm not going to be using fire or water in this torture test. The main reason is, number one, they say blatantly that these aren't rated for fire. So it doesn't make sense to put them through a torture test of fire if, you know, there's no claim stating that they can handle fire. Same thing with water. The water will short all the electricity. I talked to Vaultek and they said that they're sure that the keyhole will still work even if it's immersed in water, but I just don't want to be dealing with shorting out the electronics and dealing with that, you know what I mean? So in future iterations, I've heard that fireproofing is something that Vaultek's looking into, but as for this version, it's not, so yeah, we're just gonna avoid fire and water. That being said, we're still gonna definitely put this thing through its paces. And yeah, so before we start, check out the safe. As I mentioned, you know, it was just a returned box, but it's like freaking brand new. There isn't a scratch on this thing, you know, hardly any scuffs at all. The thing is, the only thing, I don't know if you can hear that. There's a screw in there, like a little screw that's supposed to hold the flash or the battery plate in place. It got lodged in here somewhere. So keep in mind that that rattle was there before we started. For this sake, I'm gonna assume you know a little bit about Vaultek. There are 4 ways to enter this safe. First, you've got a concealed keyhole. You've got a keypad, you've got a fingerprint sensor, and then there's an app on the phone. So after each of these things, you know, I'll be testing these, make sure they still work. I might not test all of them on every time just for time's sake in the video, but just to make sure that it will still open after each of these tests. People do a lot of these safe torture tests, and you know, they beat the crap out of them, but you're wondering how everything is internally. You know, are the stuff that's inside the safe still safe? So I put in a watch here. This is just a really cheap watch. It's not a sapphire crystal face or anything like that. It's pretty cheap. So I put this in here. I want to make sure that the face doesn't crack, and I want to make sure the dial still works. There's no battery in it, so I can't tell if it's still ticking, but I think if the dial still winds and the face isn't cracked, I'm gonna call it good. So anyways, that's gonna live in there just like that. We've got egg crate foam in there, a little bit of foam on top as well. So now let's start beating this thing up. All right, so first test, I've got the Vaultek sitting up here on a stool. I want to say, I don't know, maybe like 36 inches high or something like that, and it's falling directly onto concrete. I wanted to replicate like a nightstand or something. You know, you have it sitting on your nightstand next to your bed, somehow it gets knocked off onto hardwood floor or something like that. You know, can it take that? I'm gonna set you guys over here. All right, so okay, so we got a little bit of a scuff there. We got some scuffs right there. Let's make sure it still works. Watch is still in good shape, and dial still turns. That was obviously a pretty tame test. Let's bump it up. One of the nice things about Vaultek is how portable it is, right? You can take it with you everywhere you go. It comes with a 4-foot steel cable so you can, you know, secure it and everything like that. But you might throw this in a backpack or something, and I'm thinking, what if you got in a backpack, you forgot to zip it up or something, it comes undone, and it flips out of your backpack. So I'm gonna drop it from a little bit higher. I'm about 6 feet tall. So, you know, we'll drop it from, I don't know, 5 feet or something like it was on a high backpack. Backpack, walking, and whew, okay. So can you guys see that? Okay, so it's definitely got some scuffs around the outside, top. Got some along the keypad, biometric. Let's see if the fingerprint sensor works. Sensor still works, and keypad still works. So that was about a 5-foot drop that thing just took Okay, so I have a couple more drop tests and things like that, but we're gonna save those till we get to the more extreme side. I don't have a crowbar, unfortunately, but I do have a garden shovel that'll fit into the side here. As you can see, there's just the littlest gap right there. So I'm gonna try and wedge this thing in there and see if I can't get the thing to pop up at all. So. Heard it cracking a little bit. Oh. Okay, so you can see, bend the edge of my shovel. In through there. Nothing, but I did put a good dent in that shovel. Let's open this thing up and see if it did anything to it. I had the shovel lodged in there, all along here, and in there. So you can't really see it on this camera, but this is all blocked from internal metal. There's a gap right here and a gap on the other side. But you know, you can see the shovel marks kind of right there. The metal itself looks incredibly unharmed from that shovel. I guess I don't know what it's like with a big crowbar, you know, that might bend like that. You might be able to get a little more leverage, but I mean, there was absolutely no give in the Vaultek safe. You know, a criminal or whatever is trying to break into this thing. They only have a limited amount of time. They might not, if they don't have any tools with them or whatever, it's just straight beat the crap out of this thing. A lot of these safes you can really kind of hit up and down, and the hinges will unlock and you can get them to pop open. I know Vaultek's taken a lot of time into not letting that be the case, but I'm wondering if we can just kind of bash this thing into submission. So let's try it. Good Lord. Really doesn't look like too much is going on. I mean, I got a lot more scuffs on it, but let's see if it still will open. Let's see if the fingerprint scanner still works after that. Negative. I'm gonna check inside and make sure it wasn't the battery first. So, first of all, the watch is still in very nice condition. The watch face is still smooth. Dials still work, so that's good that it protected that. So, looks like we may have lost power to this thing. So, yeah, it's not reading electronics. It's not reading fingerprints, and the keypad is done. Key entry still works, but it looks like electronics are gone. I mean, the most important part of that though, even though the electronics are gone, you can't get in this thing. You know, it's still locked down. If someone was just banging this thing, even though it's broke, they still wouldn't be able to get in this without the key. A bat, you know, someone breaks into your house, they might have a bat with them, something like that. If they beat this thing into submission, will it open up? Let's find out. I've been looking forward to this one. We got the logo piece off. Let's give it a few more whacks. All right, you gotta check the safe out. Whew. Look at this. So we lost the logo. We lost 3 of the buttons. There's a button there. There's a button here. And a button here. So you can see this thing's got a good beating, but nonetheless, still didn't open. It's like actually starting to get a little concave. Can you see that? This thing's starting to whoosh, go in. But yeah, I mean, we already knew the electronics were taken down. Let's see if the keyhole will still work. Uh-oh. All right, so the keyhole is broken as well. Looks like we, I mean, that is good news in the sense that again, you know, if this were wrapped in a steel cable or whatever, secured to something, and a bad guy tried to break into your house, break into your safe, hit it with a bat, they might beat the crap out of this safe, but they're not getting it open. And you know, if it's secured down with that steel cable or whatever, they're not taking it with them. So you know your valuables are still safe. The question is, how do we get our valuables out now? So let's go through a few more of these things. I still want to see if I can get this. Hi, buddy. Hi. 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 Hi, buddy. I still want to see if I can break this thing open by means of just sheer force. So that's next. So back here is my, I don't know if you can see that or not, that's my Jeep Patriot. So, you know, it's an SUV, it's a fairly large sized, heavy vehicle. So let's run over the safe with it. All right, so that attempt was fairly unsuccessful. I don't know how to get the safe still enough to run it over, but I guess we'll just move on to the next test. And we're going to the top of the house. So I don't know how high it is. I'd say, I don't know, at least 10 feet or so. It didn't open. And it's like not that much more beat up than it was. Holy crap, you guys. So I just made a huge discovery. So check this out with this safe. Here's the safe. We already know it's all beat up. It's like concaved in. If you, like, electronics are gone, fingerprints gone, but the safe key, if you remember, does nothing, right? But I think it's because of the shape of the safe. It's like concave now. Check this out. If you turn it up this way, turn this, well, bam, it opens. And then you want to see something even more amazing? Look at this watch. Can you see that? Let me see if I can get it to focus. Look at that watch, guys. That's completely clean. Dial still works. That is absolutely amazing. Like, fully surprised me. I 100% expected this thing to be shattered on the inside. Guys, I am seriously impressed with the durability of this thing. Like, yeah, the buttons are gone, electronics are gone, but it didn't open, and the keyhole still works. Look at this. Like, I don't even care anymore. I know it's gonna be completely fine. Check this out. I can keep slamming this over and over, and I'm just not even the slightest bit worried about it or the contents inside of it. So, I just gotta open this lid because I bent the lid in with a baseball bat. That was my bad. But that watch is still in perfect condition every time. Oh man. Okay, so you guys know that I partnered up with Vaultek a while ago, and they put out fantastic products. They do a lot of things right, but it's refreshing to see that my gut was right. These things hold up. Now, one last thing I was gonna try and drill the lock, but I mean, that's such like a last ditch resort. You really do ruin the entire safe doing that. And I've never done it before. I don't know what I'm doing. I just feel like I'd get more hate from you guys who do know what you're doing than any way that it could possibly benefit this video. So I'm gonna keep the safe as is, you know, with this keyhole still functioning. Thanks so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this. If you wanna pick yourself up a Vaultek safe, head over to vaulteksafe.com. Make sure to use promo code GREENLIGHT10. That expires the first day, or I think the last day of June 2017. So make sure to use that. I've got a review coming out on their smaller VT10i next week. So stay tuned for that if you're interested. But thanks so much for watching. I hope it was fun to watch and entertaining, and I had a blast doing it. And I just feel so good about these Vaultek safes now. Ah, that was a blast. Thanks for watching.